The Hangar Z podcast welcomes Deputy Jonathan Lazada and Deputy Chase Gomez of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office Aviation Unit.
Where it got interesting was that when I started shifting into that recovery or search and rescue aspect, I was so focused on the screen, and with the darkness now, I actually got disoriented.
Oh.
So I pinpointed on the FLIR screen the coordinates. I started guiding these boats to the victims, but I was telling them to go west instead of east.
Wow.
Not even realizing that, right? So I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, why are they going
the
opposite way?
Yeah.
And the boats are like, are you sure we got to go west? Because we're looking at the shoreline.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, keep going west, keep going west. Come to find out, with just the orbits and the darkness and just everything going on at once.
Yep.
I was telling them to go west instead of east, right?
Welcome back to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor Plus. On today's episode, we're joined by Deputy Jonathan Lazada and Deputy Chase Gomez of the Indian River County Sheriff's Office Aviation Unit. Recently honored with the Airborne Public Safety Aircrew of the Year Award and the FLIR Vision Award for life-saving, they share the incredible story of a challenging offshore search where their skill, teamwork, persistence, and determination led to the rescue of 3 survivors from the ocean. You won't want to miss this one. Thank you to our sponsors, Quantum Helicopters, Centum, and MD Helicopters.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts. The Hangar Z podcast is the first and only podcast dedicated to promoting and exploring the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation.
Still southbound, skidding to a stop. Stand by here. Looks like you're getting ready to bail. Heads up, guys, bailing. Okay, the guy, he's running through the house, jumping the fence, through the shotgun, through something out. Grabbing the shotgun. Don't go over that fence. Don't go over that fence. Grab the shotgun again. He is armed. Stay there. Hold your position.
Welcome to the Hangar Z podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and partnered with Vertical Valor Plus. I'm your host, Jack Shanley. With me today is the creator of the Hangar Z podcast, John Gray.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Good morning. We're at APSCON 2026 in beautiful Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So far, so good. We had the opening last night. Lots of people. Man, we got to visit with a lot of people here at the booth.
Yeah.
Really fun.
Yep.
Great evening last night. Played a little Top Golf with our friends from Metro Aviation, which was wonderful.
They provided dinner for us. We go there, have some dinner, play some golf, and then have my breakfast cookie at their booth this morning, too.
I might have had a breakfast cookie, too. They're irresistible.
If you haven't had a Metro cookie, you got to have one.
Oh, yeah. They're right behind
us.
They are
so
really good.
Very, very good.
There. So one of the things that we do here at APSCON, we've been doing it for a while, is APSCON is the big event for Airborne Public Safety Association. They give out awards every year to various categories, and we try and get some of those people on. And no exception for this morning. Our first podcast here at APSCON is going to be with the Captain Gus Crawford Memorial Aircrew of the Year Award, which is a big deal. Some really important work has been done to get that award. And so that's we have a crew that has earned that award. And we want to welcome Jonathan Lazada.
Hey, good morning.
And Chase Gomez.
Good morning.
From the Indian River County Sheriff's Office Aviation Unit. Welcome to the Hangar Z, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, we're glad you took the time, because I know it's busy and you guys got other things going on. There's awards, ceremonies, and they drag you in different directions. And you took time to meet with John and I, so we're thrilled about that. And we just had a chance to meet you guys. We never met you before and chat a little bit. And we're gonna start with what happened with you two that ended up being recognized as this prestigious award as Aircrew of the Year at APSCON. So let's go back to June 1st last year. And I don't care who starts. I want to hear both perspectives. Chase is the pilot of this operation.
Yes, sir.
And Jonathan was the TFO.
Yes.
So you guys decide who starts, but give us June 1st of last year. Something happened to you guys that was very important and really important to some victims that you saved.
Yeah, so I'll start. June 1st will be a day that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
It was a Sunday. We worked a day shift. I think we had an event that day, so we worked day shift hours. I was at home. I was hanging out with my family, sitting on the couch watching TV, and my phone rings, and it's the supervisor. And obviously, immediately I answer it. I'm like, "Hey, Sarge, what's going on?" He's like, "Chase, I got a plane crash. I need you to come into the hangar immediately." And I just, based off the sound of his voice, I knew it was serious. And
Right.
I was like, "What information do you have?" He's just like, "I don't know. Air traffic control advised they had a plane crash." And I was like, "Where?" And he's like, "A couple miles offshore." And that's when I kind of froze for a moment because
Right.
I'm like, we don't have the equipment. We don't have the helicopter. We operate a single engine aircraft. I'm coming in. I'm going to try my best.
Sure.
I called John. I told John, "Hey, plane crash. I need you in immediately." And it was lights and sirens to the hangar.
Yeah. Wow. That got the ball rolling.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny that you already said, hey, you were already thinking about safety, what you can do, what you can't do, your abilities. Your mind must have been going, as a pilot, you were already doing a risk assessment, weren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This was now my third plane crash in our small town.
Wow.
The last one I worked, unfortunately, was fatal. She went IMC conditions and went straight into a wooded area. Yeah. I found the debris wreckage, and obviously the outcome wasn't what I was anticipating.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing that it was 3 miles offshore, I was like, I was preparing for the worst, but I was going to give it my all.
Yeah. Do you go offshore much?
No.
No. So so it's something that you might do because you're in Florida.
Absolutely.
That's a big ocean out there, but it's not something regular.
No.
Is that a good way to describe?
Yeah, it's something I'll practice. Like we wear NVGs at night, and I'd say go a quarter mile offshore. I'll make some unusual attitudes, just recover, and then always safety's always been a number one priority of mine. Yeah. But to say that we go out there on a daily basis, absolutely not.
Okay. Wow. What time of day was this call?
The call came in, I believe, at around 8 o'clock at night.
Okay.
And by the time I got to the hangar, grabbed our PFDs, prepped everything, we got airborne. Took about 20 minutes, I would say. Got information from our local Vero Beach tower. She advised what happened, where they last had a radio contact. And I just, the search begun. Yeah. I was instructed to switch over to Palm Beach approach. They were on an IFR flight plan. Got information from him. He did an outstanding job, that air traffic controller. I never got to meet him, but I could hear in his voice, like it was bothering him. He shut down the channel because the Coast Guard helicopter was actually responding, and he allowed us to communicate back and forth just so we didn't have so many channels. We didn't have to flip through many channels. So he was a huge asset to us.
Where's Coast Guard coming from?
They were, so for Florida, it's either Sector Clearwater or Sector Miami. Okay. And the one that responded was from Sector Miami. Okay. So about an hour time delay, which...
So even though they're coming,
it's
going to be you guys that are going to be first at scene, even if they're hauling up there in a Black Hawk, you're it.
Yeah, we were it. Yeah.
Wow. Well, continue on. What's the sequence? You get there, prep the aircraft.
Yeah, I told John. I just said, "Hey, get your life jacket on. We're going offshore for a little bit." That night, I just remember there was not a single. No moonlight, no starlight.
Of course.
It was a dark night, and we take off. Like I said, was getting as much information as I can. I forgot to mention that there was another aircraft that heard the Mayday call that was, I think setting up for a traffic pattern, and he actually ended up flying. He was an instructor, if I'm not mistaken, flew out, and he was trying his best. He was in I think he was in a Piper Warrior, and he was just doing orbits trying to see any debris, light, and it was just nothing out there. So I get on scene, I get over to the coast, and I just immediately, I'm like, holy smokes, this is some dark conditions. This is not what I'm used to. Mm-hmm. So I looked over at John. I said, hey, try your best, start scanning the FLIR. That's what we operate. It could zoom very far. We started that. I said, are you going to be comfortable if I reach out maybe like a half mile offshore? And he's just like, I feel comfortable. Do what you can. Right. And I decided to make right orbit. So I had the horizon, the coast, our inland, so I can have a horizon reference, and I can reference point. Sure. And that's how the search pattern started.
What altitudes were you working at?
So just because we were over the ocean, I decided to climb up to about 2,000 feet, just in case we are flying a single engine helicopter. If we had an engine failure, I have time to put it down back onto the shore at least. But 2,000 feet, we still had a really good FLIR picture that night.
Wow, Jonathan, talk about the beginning of this when you were finding out what you're about to go on, and Chase is telling, hey, we're going out there over the water here. What were you thinking about from the TFO perspective?
I mean, so one of the funniest things that I remember is that when we worked that day shift, when we left for the night, I always let the watch commander know, like, hey, if you need us, call us, give us a shout.
Yeah.
My phone's going to be on.
Right.
Well, that particular night, I was sitting on the couch, and Chase knows if I don't answer the phone as an emergency, call my wife. Because she's always on call.
I did call Haley.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, her phone's ringing, and it's Chase. And she's like, hey, Chase is calling me. And I instantly said, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Looking for my phone, it had fallen between the couch.
Oh, man.
So I was like, hey, what's up? Same thing. Hey, John, we have an airplane crash. It's legitimate. I need you to come in as soon as possible, or like right away. Okay, no problem. When I grabbed my phone, I had like 15 missed calls from patrol deputies, sergeants, lieutenants, Chase. So I was like, uh-oh.
This is the real deal.
This is real.
Yeah.
Like, this is,
This is not a drill.
Correct. This isn't one of those false readings. Like, we have a legitimate incident here that we have to prepare for. So, I remember literally jumping off the couch, getting dressed, like Chase said, getting in the car, and it was just, I live in a gated neighborhood. I was literally lights and sirens for my driveway. I wasn't taking any chances. Probably the fastest I've gotten to our hangar. I'm doing the same thing as Chase, but in my mind as an observer, because I knew Chase was flying or was going to fly, I was honestly, it's like you prepare for the worst, right? This is a tragic scenario, whether it's a good outcome or a bad outcome. It's still tragic, right? Because these people who have crashed in the water now, whether they're still alive or dead, they're still going, went through something or going through something. So again, I'm thinking, okay, it's 8 o'clock at night. The sun, by the time we get up, it's going to be complete darkness. So we're coming up with a plan. Where am I going to start? What am I going to do? How far can we go offshore? So I start putting all that kind of together internally. And before you know it, I'm at the hangar, and I live about 15 minutes away on just regular drive time. But before I knew it, time had gone, and I was there. And, got with Chase and basically, hey, what do we have? Hey, I know that a Cessna 172 it went down about 3 miles offshore. Tower reported the Mayday call, and that's all we know, possibly 3 people.
Yeah.
So, get in the aircraft, we get overhead, and again, it's just darkness and ocean. And I'm looking out there and I'm going, this is literally the needle in the haystack.
Yeah. It is.
And so, like Chase said, we just started looking. We did what we do best, or we try to do best. And we just said, you know what? We're obviously not going to give up here. We're going to continue, to search. Coast Guard we knew was 2 hours away at least, the air station.
Yeah.
We do have a Marine station at the Fort Pierce Inlet who received the call right away, them and AMO from Homeland Security. But again, they're responding, and they don't know where to look. They're just,
they're doing the same thing as you,
there.
right? They're going, okay, something out here.
Something out here.
This is what you got.
Let's wait. Let's wait until we get some hopefully overhead, coverage, right?
Yeah.
And of course, our Marine boats are going out as well. But I'm dealing with while he's flying, battling, and I say battling because it's tough. You're battling the darkness, the horizon, air traffic control. I'm also on my end. I'm dealing with boom, Coast Guard radio, switching back to law enforcement ground, switching back to other talk channels, and so it's like coordinating just everything at one point. So yeah, it definitely made it tough.
Yeah. Mentally taxing, right?
Oh yeah. It absolutely did, and so as we continue to search, now we're at about an hour and a half time delay since this went down, and you're just looking at waves or just water.
Were you seeing anything? I mean, were there any boats out there? Anything?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Oh,
but
that must
just,
have been
but just
discouraging.
water. And I'm literally looking at it and I'm like, man, I have a really bad feeling about this. Like, this is not the outcome that.
It was so calm, the water.
Was it?
It was it was an eerie calm.
So on the screen, that just is like
just
nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, and like the FLIR screen, it's like that's almost like that grainy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like the cable antenna's not working. It's just grainy, and you can see the waves from time to time, but not.
I was going to ask you. It probably actually looks like. I wonder if this is working at times, right? I mean, because there's just nothing. It's not like you're even in the Everglades. There's textures and heights and trees and looking at a flat ocean. I've never had to do that, by the way, with FLIR. But I'm picturing it and going, oh, this is going to get discouraging because you're not nothing's jumping out at you at all.
Right.
Wow. Keep going. So how long? Well, let me back up a little bit. Were you still talking to air traffic control about? Were they kind of saying, okay, that's the spot, or how was that going?
Yeah, so I, like I said, I initially reached out to Vero Beach Tower. So he initially did the Mayday call with Palm Beach Approach.
Okay.
He's like, hey, you have Vero Beach off your right, so-and-so miles. So he's like, switch over 126.3. He switched over to 126.3, Maydayed with Vero Beach Tower.
Okay.
She's like, okay, I got radar contact with you. Runway 30 left is at your... like 1 o'clock. I remember listening back to the ATC tapes.
Yeah.
And he just, I have flight radar on 24 on my phone, and I was driving to the hangar, and I was trying to pinpoint exactly where he.
No kidding.
I was thinking of everything outside of the box.
We were thinking of everything.
And sure enough, you see the altitude, the speed start to decrease, and it just approximately like 2.5, 3 miles offshore is where the plane just stopped. And I was like, okay, so he's right somewhere in this proximity.
Yeah.
He's lined up on, to the final approach fix, and he's in this area somewhere. And I switched over to Palm Beach, and he was just relaying the same amount of information, just like, hey, you're in the right area. I have you on radar. This is where we last seen him. And he's like, he kept asking, do you have anything? Do you see anything?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're trying. We don't have anything.
Wow.
Thank you to our sponsors, MD Helicopters. MD Helicopters is a leading light helicopter manufacturer for civil and military operators worldwide. We build safe, agile, hard-working light helicopters that consistently deliver reliable performance. As a result, our operators enjoy superior confidence, backed by durability that enables more uptime.
What's interesting when I think through that, I think about the currents and the winds and the environmental conditions that could move somebody from one location to another once they've entered the water. Right. I think in my mind, you're going to respond to the area where the plane went down, but then where would it go from there? Is there kind of a known current in that area that you can kind of predict it's going to go from one location to another, or how does that play into what you're doing?
It depends. Sometimes the currents go from north to south. Sometimes it'll take you straight east out to the into the Atlantic. So it's just, unfortunately, it was just so dark we really couldn't see how the water was moving. It was like a pond out there without any wind.
Wow.
So it's a guess.
No reference. Yeah. It was a big guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long are you out there where you have nothing?
About 45 minutes, right, John?
Yeah, I'd say 45 minutes, maximum 1 hour.
Okay. So 45 minutes to an hour, your guys are doing your best, still coordinate with ATC, looking on the FLIR, feeling down right now. Would that be accurate? I mean, where you're looking at the negative side of this more and more and more because we're not finding anything.
I was getting discouraged, if I'm not going to lie. It's our job to respond and save people's lives. And I was just like, I don't want to give up. Like, I want to keep pushing, but it's just like, it gets to a point where you just absolutely have nothing. Yeah. Nothing's popping up on his screen. I'm not flying in the best conditions right now. Yeah. So it's just like, you got to make the decision, do we keep going or do we call it off and let the Coast Guard take over?
Right. And they're still not there. It's still just you guys,
still
an hour into this. Yep. And what happens next?
We got to the point where we started having the discussion. Hey, we've been out here for almost an hour and a half. You got to take fuel into consideration. the time of day, the environment, and where we're flying. I don't recall exactly maybe what we said as far as how long we were going to keep going, but I knew that time was coming up soon.
Right.
That we were going to be,
Bingo.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think I told him, hey, you know what? Let's maybe change it up just a few more times, see what we can find. And I'll tell you, he changed his orbit.
How so?
So he went from a right-handed to a left.
Okay.
I told him, I was like, I'm going to be in the cockpit. I can't look out. I'm going to be focusing on the flight instruments.
And basically, he went from a right-handed orbit to a left-handed orbit to allow me to get that maximum east, picture on the FLIR. And I believe on like the second or third orbit, I'm sitting there and I'm just, you're at that point where you're just staring at the screen, right? Mm-hmm. Because you're going through your head, and a lot of times as observers, we're like, what am I doing wrong? Can I do something better? Am I looking right? Is my gaining level right? Is there anything I can adjust, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm just staring at the screen, and on the one orbit, all of a sudden, 3 little black dots come into the frame, right in the center of the screen. And I looked at him and I said,
he elbowed me. He said, boom, 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 boom.
I can't take my eyes off. Look.
I think that's debris. That was my initial reaction, debris. And then I thought about it. Wait, it can't be debris. We've been out here for an hour and a half. There's no way that debris, unless it broke apart, right? So, sure enough, I said, hey, I got 3 dots. It's either debris, it's something.
Right.
So he adjusted a little bit more, got a little bit closer, not too much. I zoomed in on it, and I could see 3 little heads bobbing in the water.
Oh, man. Talk about that feeling.
Still over the water. And it's like, I immediately, it's like I wanted to just like melt in my seat, right? And it's like, it was relief.
Yeah.
I was absolutely stoked that we had found him. But then I also knew that, okay, now I found you. Now we have to recover you. Now we have to come rescue you.
Right.
So
the game plan changed.
It changed completely. So I knew 2 things. I knew that we had Coast Guard AMO on the shore.
Yeah.
And then I knew we had our Marine boats as well. And we also knew that Air Station Miami was on the way up.
Right.
Where it got interesting was that when I started shifting into that recovery or search and rescue aspect, I was so focused on the screen, and with the darkness now, I actually got disoriented.
Oh.
So I pinpointed on the FLIR screen the coordinates. I started guiding these boats to the victims, but I was telling them to go west instead of east.
Wow.
Not even realizing that, right? So I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, why are they going
the
opposite way?
Yeah.
And the boats are like, are you sure we got to go west? Because we're looking at the shoreline.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, keep going west, keep going west. Come to find out.
Yeah.
With just the orbits and the darkness and just everything going on at once.
Yep.
I was telling them to go west instead of east, right?
Human.
And I realized that later on because our ag Marine sergeant, he'll never let me live it down.
Sure.
He's like, are you sure it's east this time, right? And we joke about it, but it worked out perfectly, right? But we also had to keep into account like fuel at this point.
Yeah.
But getting the rescue vessels to them was probably another 30, 40 minutes before we could even get to them. So I just know that we just kept that constant orbit. We kept communicating. Again, I was switching from Coast Guard radio channel back to law enforcement because it was like, oh, hey, where are they at now? So I'm telling the boat to go west when they should have been going east. And then I'm telling the Coast Guard, hey, you need to go west too, but it's really east. So it's just that back and forth, and I will say we have to give a lot of credit also to our air traffic controllers. We have a great relationship with them at the Vero Beach Airport. Like Chase and I and our other crew members, we make it a point every year to buy them lunch on like air traffic control day.
Yeah.
Just little gestures here and there, right? Because they do a lot for us.
Sure they do.
And I will say that if we need to get out for any type of incident, they will get us out.
Right.
Vero Beach is the 36th busiest airport in the country.
Wow.
And so they have 2 big major flight schools there, right? And then we have a lot of private flights, and we also now we have JetBlue, Breeze, American Airlines that comes in and out.
Right.
And for us, that's huge, So, we give them a lot of credit as well. And the controller that was working that night, Chase and I, we've met her multiple times. Her son is a big fan of ours. He comes to our hangar all the time just to see the helicopters and whatnot. But I could tell in her voice that she was truly, truly, truly concerned, to the point where I texted her that night. I was like, hey, we found them and they're okay. And
cool.
She was super, super relieved.
Yep.
But not only her, but also the Palm Beach air traffic controller as well. And I went as far as sending both of them letters of commendations to their managers,
cool. Oh, good
to
for
Vero
you.
Beach Airport manager and the Palm Beach approach.
Right.
Just commending them for their professionalism, patience, and, indicating that, hey, we appreciate you allowing us to be able to, work on our own channel. Right. To be able to coordinate these rescue efforts, because they could very well say, hey, man, take it to to another 123, whatever, and so for them to do that, I felt that they needed to be recognized just as much as we were, right? And so that was another thing that I want to mention is we couldn't have done it without them.
Sure,
busy airspace, flying right in, literally we're right off of their final,
right?
And they were pretty much like, hey, you want to land? Sorry, we're closed right now, type deal. Like, the airspace is yours. You guys do what you need to do.
That's great. Yeah. Let me ask you this. First of all, I appreciate you sharing you obviously have great integrity, that you're sharing a mistake. And I love that. We talk about that all the time, that's how we learn from our mistakes, and we all make mistakes. It's a good lesson for TFOs, especially that it might be working with water. What was it that finally clicked that you went, whoa, it's east? Was there something that you saw, heard, talked about? What changed it?
It's funny because, as TFOs, we have all these resources in front of us, right? I had a big north indicator arrow right in front of me, but I was just so focused on oh my God, I found them. Yeah. Now we gotta rescue them. That you get almost that tunnel vision, right? And as law enforcement deputies as well, we talk about that all the time. Don't get tunnel vision. Don't get auditory exclusion. Don't get all of that. Yeah. But again, we're human, and it's going to happen. So I honestly don't remember. I don't know, Chase, if you can. I don't know. I don't remember what all of a sudden clicked, and I was like, oh my God.
I always tell.
I'm completely doing this wrong.
That's great that you're talking about this.
I always tell new pilots and praise crew resource management. Right. That is, I feel like, the number one priority when it comes to flying and doing any type of mission. You just have to have that. I'm pretty sure I remember this, but as we were flying, he was like, hey, I have them. And he's like, I'm guiding the boats to him, and I'm relaying the information over to air traffic control, notifying the Coast Guard helicopter as it's responding. I see the boats going towards the shoreline, and I was like, I'm looking over at the screen. I'm like, I'm flying, glancing, flying. Right. I'm like, they're not going the right way. And I believe I tapped John. I'm like, John, they're going west. They need to go east. And he's like, oh my God. And that's how the change happened.
Bingo. For resource management. Hey, it works.
Yeah.
And it could be looking for a bad guy, a missing person, surveilling a car. Is this the right car? I mean, that happens all the time. And that's why there's two of you, and you're willing to say it. There was a time, and we talk about it all the time, a time in law enforcement aviation where there was a wall between observer, tactical flight officer, and pilot, and there wasn't that communication. And they said, just do your job over there, kid, kind of thing. Yeah. And there are still people, I can think of a few that would say, well, that's the TFO's job. I'm not going to interfere. Yeah. I would never say that. I would never say, hey, I think you're going the wrong way. You did it right by saying, hey, I think you got to relook at that. And then it clicked to you, and you hit yourself in the head. I've hit myself in the head more. I have concussions because of hitting myself in the head because of mistakes like that. And you realize, and you go, thanks, partner. Boom. And now you're back in business and getting the resources where you wanted them. But I love that you're willing to talk about it. Not everybody is doing that. Well, not everybody does that.
I think it's important. I mean, you have to have an open line of communication with your partner, right?
Yes.
as a pilot, like, you know, when we do dual roles, we're both pilots, we're both observers. So really, for us, we joke, it's like rock, paper, scissors, who wants to fly today?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I am the newest pilot to the unit. So he lets me fly more now. But, you know, when it's a little bit more complex like that, you know, I have no issues taking the left seat and say, hey, man, you've been doing this way, way, way longer than I have.
Yep. Good call.
It's you, right?
Yeah,
because
real good
there's
call.
no worse feeling than, you know, having that untrained person or no experience, right? It's like throwing a TFO from the road patrol that's never touched it before, and you're doing a vehicle pursuit. You know, you're managing flying, and now you're managing, you know, the observer, and that's just not, you know, in our opinion, it's unsafe. But, you know, Chase and I, we preach, whether it's just me flying with another observer, or we're taking an employee or a civilian, whatever, flying with us. The first thing we do after we do our safety brief is I tell them, and Chase does the same thing. Hey, listen, at any point in time, I want you to know, if you see something that you are uncomfortable with, tell us. Simply say, hey, do you see that airplane over there? I may see it, sure, but you're telling me, and you're letting me acknowledge it to you that I see it. I'm not going to get upset over that, because like you just mentioned, there was a time where it's like, hey, there's an airplane over there. Yeah, I know, I see it. Kind of stay in your lane type deal, right? Let me do the flying and you do your side of it. You know, and I think it's very important to have that open line communication, right? If I'm flying and Chase says, hey, man, you know, I'm not telling you how to fly, but it is nighttime, check your altitude. I take that. I love when he does that. I don't get upset at that, because sometimes I have to check myself, right? And sometimes we get carried away with the mission or the flight, and you start to kind of, you know, it might be 100 feet difference, but I just think that's important. I always have. And I tell them, like, hey, man, if you see something you don't like from me, please tell. I've never gotten mad at him, and he's the same way. So I just think that's, I don't know if you have any input on that, Chase.
No, you couldn't have said that any better. I will say that night, that's not something, the workload that night was huge. It was the highest that I think he's ever got put on. So obviously mistakes happen, but considering that he found them, he was managing, listening to information that I'm giving him, our dispatch channel, Coast Guard dispatch channel, switching through all these channels, and he still managed to get the boat to them. It's a win.
As you think through that, I'm thinking of myself in that TFO seat and the amount of fatigue that you're going through, and you as well as a pilot, because your workload's really high on both sides. But you're talking about all the work that you're doing, coordinating on the radio, and the intensity of the search on the screen. I remember that feeling where your neck hurts because you're so locked on to that screen. You know, your eyeballs feel like they're sunken in the back of your head because you're so intent on whatever it is you're looking at. So that workload and that amount of fatigue that builds up to that last point, I can see how what happened. And that's when we talk about the importance of teamwork, right? Your crew, the two of you together combined made this happen, as well as ATC. You know, the right places or the right pieces were in place at the right time to make it all happen. But I can 100% see how that happened, and really cool that you guys work together and can ultimately make it happen. You know, so
the best air crews, law enforcement air crews on the planet, have had that happen. In maybe not in the ocean, but on a mountainside or in the desert or in a backyard, where you're saying something and you think it's on, and because it's so intense, you think, man, I got it. There they are. Come westbound, guys. Come westbound. You know, I have said that so many times, and then my partner goes, hey, eastbound. Oh,
like, no, that's what I said. He's like, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. You said westbound, Jack. And I'm like, okay, eastbound. Now you're on it.
Definitely happened to everyone.
You see somebody do a U-turn, you go, oh, I did say westbound. You know.
Thank you to our sponsor, Centum. Airborne operators know that every second counts. LifeSeeker is a powerful phone location tool, helping search and rescue teams and law enforcement agencies locate missing persons faster, even in the toughest conditions. With hundreds of successful missions every year and proven reliability, LifeSeeker is trusted by public safety agencies worldwide. Want to improve your operations? Learn more at Centum.com.
The number one thing here is that you're willing to talk about it and share that on a very critical mission and show that, hey, in some cases, because it's a critical mission and so intense, that was the part of the cause of that, because you're so focused. And if for people listening that have never looked at a FLIR screen, looking at the ocean or a mountainside or a big plot of desert, you might not understand how, hey, I got something, and how your focus goes there and you kind of block everything else out. Well, it happens. You said it, Jonathan, tunnel vision. Tunnel vision's ugly, man. It's ugly. Cops get tunnel vision all the time. You go to YouTube for 2 minutes and you can look at shootings and tactics and go, that guy has tunnel vision.
Yep.
That guy doesn't. Oh, this guy doesn't. Look what he's doing. You can tell who has tunnel vision. And stress is the #1 cause of tunnel vision. Were you under stress that night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great conversation. I mean, the biggest takeaway is that we all need to debrief and go over this stuff and say, just like we're doing, this is a debrief right now. And there's TFOs and pilots listening and watching. They're going to go, man, I've had that exact same thing, but we didn't talk about it. Or I saw something the other night that I should have said, and we got the guy, but we would have got him 10 minutes sooner if I had elbowed and said, hey, this, whatever it is. Right? I mean, I bet you experienced that dozens of times.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think of early TFO days. I remember working a call at night, no external reference for where I was, and I am completely lost.
Yeah.
And I'm panicking as a TFO. I'm like, I don't know what to tell these guys on the ground. I don't know what I'm looking at. Thank God I had a partner to help me out. But same situation, right? So yeah, for you TFOs that are listening, we talk about the challenge of the TFO seat, how hard it is, right? You talk through all the multitasking involved in that one incident. That level of multitasking happens on almost every critical incident, right? You're managing so many different things. Yeah. For the people that are watching, the observer who might, or the citizen who might be in the back, or the deputy who might be in the back watching you in that ride along, you make it look easy, right? They're looking at what you do like, that can't be too hard. It looks really easy, not realizing how much mental bandwidth it takes to do that. That's what we talk about unit supervision. When you have someone that comes into the unit that's not been in aviation before, and they're looking at what you're doing, like, what's so hard about that? So when those new unit managers come in and they actually take the time to go sit in that TFO seat and understand what it is you're doing, I think that's valuable, because then they can ultimately make decisions on what's good or bad or indifferent for the role of that position based on what the job they know now. So just a quick aside there.
No, that's really good. It brings a memory pops up immediately when you said that, John, of a certain captain that came in toward the end of my career, and his first day in the unit, he's addressing half the unit one day, half the unit the next day it's an all hands training day over 2 days. And the first thing he does is hammers 2 incidents handled by tactical flight officers that he allegedly had experience on. And I'll never forget it, because I sat there and listened and went, I cannot believe you're coming here and starting by saying what you're saying to your troops. Because what I learned very quickly was he could never in a million years be a tactical flight officer. Could never do it. I mean, I trained a lot of TFOs. I know who can do it and who can't do it. I was not always right, never 100%, but I can tell you he could never do it. And the things he was being critical of is he's just ignorant. He doesn't know what it's like in that cockpit. Right. I don't think he's ever been in a helicopter and watched and listened and saw the crew coordination and the technology. And so it's easy to be critical.
Yeah.
And it's easy. And I love that you said, John, too, that it looks easy, because yes, once you do it a while, we make it look easy, but it's not. It never is. On your first mission to your last mission, there's always a challenge. They're different, and it's different intensity. I mean, I think you would agree whether you're piloting or TFOing, your first flight versus a flight 5 years later are night and day.
Absolutely.
But the year 5 years later, it's still challenging.
It is.
10 years, 15 years later, there's still going to be challenges. Yes, you will take certain things for granted, but the challenges are still there. This is a hard job.
Yeah.
This is a hard job.
Yep.
So the stress of this, crew coordination, this is really,
I'll never
really
forget
good.
the first time I sat in the left seat as a TFO. Oh, my God.
It's overwhelming.
It's super overwhelming,
Yeah.
and there's one way to figure it out is just do it. And you
Jump
learn
in.
from your mistakes. I've had supervisors yell at me. I've had road guys upset with me because I led them in the wrong direction.
Sure.
I'm like, hey, this is my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go. Thank you. My first rodeo. I love that.
If that hasn't happened to you, you're not trying.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
But I did. I mean, it was a learning curve. It's just like, this is what I'm doing wrong, and this is what I need to do to fix
Yeah.
it. And then just putting that mindset to it. It's night and day difference, like you said, from my first year to now.
Yes.
It's like,
wow. I just sent John an email. We won't share who it is or their agency, but I just shared an email with John from a TFO that said he was about to hang it up. I mean, he was like a few months in and went, I can't do this. I can't do this. This is really, really hard. I'm an experienced police officer. What is wrong with me? Kind of thing. He's convinced, maybe I just can't do this. And he shared with us that he started listening. He found us and started listening to conversations exactly like this with Chase and Jonathan, where he went, oh my gosh, I'm like everybody else.
Yeah,
Everybody's
You're
has
not
this.
alone.
I'm normal. I'm going to have these highs and lows, and there's going to be more lows than highs in the beginning, and I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to be embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I'm starting over. I'm the rookie again, even though I'm an experienced patrol officer or deputy. All those things come out regularly on the Hangar Z.
Yep.
And he said, I can do this. He is excelling now.
That's awesome.
And he was giving us credit for sharing these stories. So I love that we're talking about this to start this morning at this event particularly, because there's tons of people here that are trying to learn and get better. That's why they're here.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, they're in the classes, they're walking around meeting people. This is an important conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, there is no worse feeling than you going to a call for like a fleeing suspect.
Yes.
You're flying the call, you don't find them, you go back, review the video to see them running out of the corner of your screen and never picking them up. I'm telling you right now, that is, if you want to talk about the biggest bummer in the world, and I have been there more than once.
Sure.
Where you just don't stop thinking about it, you beat yourself up, and you just, like you said, you just want to give it up at that point.
do.
But we try to review as much as we can afterwards, especially if we don't find anybody, to see if we miss things like that.
Smart.
To
Good
try
practice.
to be able to, we critique each other and ourselves. And of course, we're going to be harder on ourselves than we are with each other.
Yeah.
But I have had countless incidents where I go back and I went, they're right there the whole time.
Yeah.
And you didn't find them.
Yep. We just talked about this on Thursday with Todd Jaeger.
Yep.
And it's actually the second time Todd brought it up, and Matt brought it up when we were in San Diego, a story about how over a man with a gun, they're chasing him, they see him, they capture him, no gun. Somebody later, I think it was the next day, comes into work, knows that they were out on this, just looks at the tape, sees him toss the gun into a trash can.
Yeah.
The next day, he's watching the video, fresh set of eyes, term we use all the time, fresh set of eyes. He calls a buddy that works out there, says, hey, can you do me a favor? Go to this trash can. Gun recovered.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're talking about here. I mean, where you're not going to see everything. It's impossible to see everything. And again, it's the people that have never done it that are going, well, why couldn't you see that guy run out of the corner, Jonathan? What's wrong with you? No, that happens all the time to people. You can't focus on everything, and it's going to happen.
In your class, Jack, you've got a slide that, well, let's talk about the slide. You can talk about it much better than I can. You're asking somebody to look for the person that's hidden in that screen. Talk
Coffee
about
beans.
that and what kind of how that plays into this conversation.
So it's a slide of coffee beans. That's all. It's like you spilled coffee beans on this table and then took a snapshot.
I know exactly.
And okay, you've seen it before?
I have seen that before.
So I've used this for years, where I say find the white guy's face in the coffee beans, and there is a face of a white male in the coffee beans. It does. Oh, this is the greatest thing about AFSCON. We wave to friends and get to see people that we haven't seen in a while.
Brian Smith and his whole family.
Yes, Brian. So,
hey, Jason. What's up?
Jason, we need to take a picture with you by Leonardo later. You know what I'm talking about, right? Very cool. Jason Van Buskirk from Miami-Dade Fire Air Rescue. So, okay, back to coffee beans. This is great, isn't it?
It is.
So the whole slide is brown coffee beans, and they have the texture. I mean, it's tight, clear shot. And I say, find the white guy's face in coffee beans. And when you do, you raise your hand up to your side and you keep it up so I can see who gets it. When almost everybody gets it, we'll talk about it. And it happened. I did that class 1,000 times, and it happened the same way every time. That face is there. I make sure I tell them this is not a trick. And I bring it up the screen. Within 2 seconds, boom, there's a hand goes up. But it's the only one. And then, boom, 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 boom. And the hands start going up. And a minute later, a minute of looking at this screen, on a big screen, not everybody has it yet. 75% of the room has their hands up. I go, okay, put your hands down. Here he is. And I say, it's Tony Soprano. It looks like Tony Soprano. I said, there's Tony Soprano. And I always say, okay, Jonathan, your hand went up pretty quick. How did you find him? And 100% of the time they go, oh, that was luck. I just happened to look there. When the screen came up, my eyeballs were in the lower left corner, and I went, and even though I went, what the hell's that? Oh, it's Tony Soprano. And then the rest of the group, they'll say, oh, Chase, you were pretty quick too. What happened to you? Well, I didn't get it like as quick as Jonathan. I started up here, but I went straight down the side. I looked for the obvious, and I went straight down, and then I saw it. And then the people that didn't get it for a minute, I'd say, okay, somebody that took a minute to get, raise your hand. Okay, John Gray, it took you a minute, John? Oh my gosh, tell us about it. And he'll say, well, I scanned for the obvious, I didn't see it. Kind of like looking at the ocean for 3 bobbing heads. You don't see it. And then what do? Systematic search. You start that slide, and you either go, around, up and down, and eventually you hit something that looks different than coffee beans, and you go, what is that? Oh, it's a nose. It's a face. It's Tony Soprano. That's it. And that is every search with a FLIR that you will ever do, I think.
Yeah. As you're talking about this incident, that's kind of what came to mind. And in my mind, I'm putting myself in your seat, and it's one of those things I'm like, have you ever looked so hard you can't find something?
That's a good way to put it.
And I thought of that particular slide, but you worked yourself in your way through that, and it took you as a team to identify, hey, let's try something different because what we've been doing doesn't work. Yeah. So I think we're at the point we've got to continue the story because it doesn't end here, right?
No. But man, is this great? I mean, I knew this would happen. Just so now you've got them coming in the right direction. The resources are coming. They're getting closer. How did you walk them into it? What did they do? How long were you able to stay? Continue that part of it.
Thank you to our sponsor, Quantum Helicopters. For over 2 decades, Phoenix PD, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Mesa PD, and the Pinell County Sheriff's Office in Arizona have trusted Quantum Helicopters for primary flight training. We've helped boost their efficiency, cut costs, delivered unmatched quality, and keep them focused on public safety. Don't just take our word for it. Reach out and see how we can deliver the same results for your agency. Visit quantumhelicopters.com to learn more.
Once Chase was like, hey man, they're going west, they need to go east. So we corrected that. So
wait, are there any nicknames associated with that yet?
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure there will be soon.
So
I say west. He's going west.
So we saw the boats obviously turn course, and we're like, okay, now we're going to the right direction. And then I think by the time they were closing in, then Miami was there. They were pulling in.
Okay.
And Chase had constant communication with the pilot.
And when you say Miami, this is
Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Miami. Coast Guard,
and they're coming in
the
higher
air
than you? Lower
Yes,
than you?
I told them I will. I'll be at 2,000 feet at or above, and then they're like, "We're going to be operating 500 and below." I was like,
Great.
Perfect. I'll be up here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I remember they were coming northbound over the shoreline. Right as the boats were pulling up to them, there was two heads in the water, and then one started drifting away.
Okay.
And so I believe we had our fire rescue boat out there, our Ag Marine life-proof boat, and then we had AMO
FWC.
and FWC. No, I'm sorry, it was AMO, FWC, and then Coast Guard Fort Pierce, which is the Marine units. So immediately, I think one of the fire divers jumped in the water or threw some type of life raft. They got the 2 on board, and I immediately said, hey, look, I started using like 1 o'clock. I was like, 1 o'clock, about maybe 50 yards, there's a third subject in the water. That's
so
kind
50 yards.
Yeah, he drifted quite a bit.
And that was not the case when you first saw the heads.
When we first saw them, there was like 1, 2, and 3, and by the time the boats got there, it was 1 and 2, and the third guy was more east, kind of drifting.
Okay.
So that point, another boat went and picked him up and got him on one of their boats, and so immediately 2 of the victims went on. I think it was FWC or AMO's boat. And then the third victim went to a different boat, and with the Coast Guard helicopter, I think, hovering overhead at 500 feet, so that they were providing that lower coverage.
Right.
So we captured that rescue. The interesting part of it was, like, as soon as the Coast Guard boat kind of caught up with everybody, they basically did all right, guys, load them onto our boat. We're going to take them back to Fort Pierce, get medical clearance or whatever. Thanks for your help. And they took off. So we were sitting there like, well, wait, like, we don't know who these people are, where they're coming from. Like, how am I going to be able to document this type of stuff? We kind of went into it was almost like, okay, we just spent 2 hours searching for them. I'm glad we found them. But at the same time, Coast Guard came in, and I guess I get it. They have to do their thing.
Right.
But we offered, we're like, hey, we have EMS standing by at our location, anyway. So, but it was kind of like one of those, they took them and they were gone. And after that, Chase and I were we were left with what are the extent of their injuries?
Wow.
Who are they?
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
Are they locals? Are they not? Like, what happens from here? And so I remember even calling Coast Guard Fort Pierce. And I identified myself. I was like, hey, I'm Deputy John Lazada with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office Aviation. We had an incident, where there was a plane down, and even the Coast Guard officer was like, oh, yeah, I remember that. Hey, he's like, I'm trying to get information on the victims because our nobody has information to document this incident. Well, you're going to have to call Miami, and Miami's going to have to get you with their press release, their PIOs. And so I'm like, okay. So I called Miami. Of course, they're like, sorry, we can't give you that. And we're like, okay, fine, no worries.
I mean, it's not ABC News calling. It's like, who are the guys that found them?
And we were legitimately. My goal was to get the information so we could document this incident. I mean, this was a legitimate law enforcement search and rescue response, right? And so that was another challenge we kind of had to face. It was like, what do you mean we can't have the information? Like, we need to document this. As not only was it a successful find on our end, but it was a legitimate crash incident. If the FAA or NTSB calls us and says, hey, where's your report on this crash? We're going to tell them, I don't know. Call the Coast Guard.
Here's my flight log. I did 1.8. It's like,
Coast Guard Miami. Here's the number, and good luck, by the way.
The PA will talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't even talk to you.
Yeah.
I mean, did you even know if there were? I mean, the first thing that came to mind right there is, okay, you got 3 out of the water. Are there 2 more?
Right.
I mean, did they confirm to you? I'm sure they talked to those people. Did they relay that to you that, hey, it was 3 people? They're all here. All okay, good.
3.
Yeah, I believe we did get confirmation that the 3 were accounted for. Because they were conscious. They were treading water. The pilot was the one that was. I would say he wasn't severely injured, but he was moderately injured. He had hit his head and had a concussion and was bleeding, and he was in the worst shape out of the 3.
Okay.
But they were still able to communicate with the personnel, like the Coast Guard and the fire rescue people, tell them who they were, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was just interesting that the Coast Guard came along and were like,
bizarre.
We'll take it from here, and thank you for your help. You guys have a good one.
No, thank you too. But
thanks. Yeah,
we are really not only curious, but we do paperwork too, guys.
Right.
And we've been out here for a while, and that just seems odd to me. But,
that conversation highlights the value of what Jason put in the regional flying that he hosted.
Yes.
When you have a name to call, not some general number, to be like, hey, I need information on this, and that person has no idea who you are. What Jason put together highlights the value of that, right? Bringing these all these assets together, to get some face time to understand who it is you are and what it is you do, so that when you do need that information, you've got a name, a number, and the information to get. It's so valuable.
Yep. We talked about that at length with Jason.
Yeah.
For the fly-in. Florida Wildlife was there. You know, there was medical side, law enforcement side.
Yeah.
Coast Guard was planning on coming. They had a mechanical. I mean, to get the voices together. Just for, this would have been one where you go, hey,
Yeah.
I'm at a fly-in, and you bump into Coast Guard Miami. You go, hey, this just happened to us. Did we do something the wrong direction? Is there somebody else we should talk to? That's what these fly-ins, that's the bulk of the fly-in. Isn't just to have lunch. It's to have conversations like that. We just had this incident. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they would say, oh, you don't call that number. You call this number. Here, let me give it to you.
Call Kellerman. He'll hook you up.
Sure, call Scott Kellerman. He'll take care of everything, you know. But it's that simple. But you learn that at a fly-in. You don't learn it on the fly. I mean, you were in the dark. See what I did there? See what I did there?
I think there's something for that.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have information that you really not only want, but you need. And it just seems like there's a disconnect there. And I'll bet you it's an easy fix, but without talking to the right people, you don't learn that fix.
Right.
I love fly-ins for that reason alone.
Yep.
And like I said, we talked about that at length and with Jason, you know.
Have you guys had the opportunity to be a part of any regional fly-ins? Because I know that Florida is really good about bringing everyone together for that reason. Palm Beach comes to mind. Lieutenant Nicoletti is really good about doing stuff like that. Has that been something you guys have benefited from in the past?
We just went to one in St. Augustine recently, and it was very, very beneficial to us.
Hurricane preparedness.
And we've done.
You have hurricanes here?
We've been. I think we've participated in Lieutenant Nicoletti's disaster preparedness ones in the past.
Yeah, because he does it
it's
annually,
something that we're definitely open to.
Yeah,
that's cool.
They're good, and Drew. I mean, Nicoletti. Jeez, I mean, he's a superstar, man. He's really good at that sort of thing. He's good at teaching and instruction and briefing and debriefing, and he's gifted in that area. You owe me a lunch, Drew.
I told him, he came by here. I'm like, man, we owe you like 10 beers for all your help.
He's amazing, but that's we talked about that with just so often it comes up with the fly-ins and the benefits of them. But so now you're done. You don't know who they are. You know a little bit about them, and that they're going to be safe, and there's no one else to search for. And now you're flying home. What was that flight back like? What was the conversation going home?
For me, it was just the biggest sigh of relief. I was like,
I think it was quiet.
It was a quiet.
I think it was a quiet ride back.
Yeah.
You hang the controller up, you stow the FLIR, and you just take the ride back.
Yeah.
You just you know what? I think we're done here because now you're calming down.
Yes.
Right. The adrenaline, the adrenaline dump is going away. You kind of start shaking a little bit, but you kind of just take that back, and it's just quiet.
Yeah. But at some point, now you chat.
Yeah.
Right. And what were the major points? Do you remember the conversation? Was there an official debrief? Was there just an informal between the two of you before you went home? What did you talk about? Do you remember that conversation?
I think for me and you, it was just we were just honestly dumbfounded. We were just like, we were going into expecting the worst, and I hate to say that, but it's just that's the case. Like that was kind of, I didn't want to say the mindset that I had, but it's just like the chance of survival crashing into the ocean is just like, it's very slim.
It is.
So when we got back, like I said, like he said, the flight was more on the quiet side. It was a big sigh of relief, but when we got back, we're just like, dude, that was excellent.
Like praising.
It was just good job.
Thanks for what you did. Thanks for what you did. Teamwork.
And I made sure I was just like, I switched over to Palm Beach one more time. And when I told him, like, we have all three accounted for, the sigh of relief. He's like, we appreciate you so much and thank you. And I think we switched over to Vero Tower and we're like, hey, we're good. They're all accounted for. And it's just, that's the biggest thing for me is just hearing the sigh of relief.
Yeah.
I mean, for us and for others.
I think air traffic control is the unsung hero on a lot of things, with search and rescue in particular, but certainly even in law enforcement stuff, or they allow you to go someplace or do something to continue your mission. And I've had them ask, where we ask for something unique. We're at 7,500 or surveillance, and also we're asking to go to 1,500 rapidly, and they know what's happening. There's something happened, and we get done with it, and they would ask us, "Hey, everything turned out all right? I mean, what was going on there?" "Oh, well, these guys bailed out. There was a gun battle, and is everybody okay? Are all the good guys okay?" They wanted to know that, and I learned that quickly, where I would initiate telling them, "Hey, all good guys are okay, bad guys in custody, and you get an assist on this." Oh, I could hear the cheers sometimes in the air traffic control tower. I mean, because they know that they were a part of that.
And a lot of times they don't get closure.
No,
they don't.
No.
Right? They know that they're helping you out.
Yes.
They don't know what your mission is. Yeah. They hear you wanting to fly, and they hear you wanting to land or operate, and that's it. They don't know. They don't know anything else. So that goes a long way when they
like
get that closure.
Yes, just like dispatchers, right?
Yep.
They're in a room. They're not out there. They hear it. They feel it. They have the emotions, like an officer down or something, but they don't know what happened. And it's so important to go to them later and involve them in the debrief and explain to them the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially if it's good. And you tell them, "Hey, you had a role in this, because the outcome was good. The officer's fine. The bad guy's in custody, and your composure was that." I mean, that means a lot to them.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes back to the mental wellness stuff, because when you don't know, your mind goes wild, and you need to know.
Yeah.
I'd say internally for myself, it was closure of just saying these individuals get to come home. They get to come back to their family. I didn't know if it could have been a mom, a dad, son, daughter. It's just they get to come home to their family. And that was the biggest, I would say, relief and like comfort that I got to take home that night was they're coming home back to their family.
I want to talk about your guys' mindset for a minute, because what you guys did in this particular case is outstanding. As air crews, a lot of times we're triaging the call that we're responding to from the moment we get that call to the moment we arrive, and you continue to address that as you go. We all know if for a apprehension of a fleeing suspect, for example, if I get a call and they're like, "Okay, is there a perimeter set up?" "No, a perimeter hasn't been set up yet." Okay, automatically I'm thinking, well, the suspect's probably not going to be contained within any area that we're going to find him, right? So automatically as a TFO, you're like, well, we're probably not going to find him. We're going to fly over there,
make some noise,
and nothing's going to happen, right? And that's not what you guys did. You guys know what it takes to successfully locate somebody in the search and rescue environment, in the ocean environment. And you guys, even knowing that the odds were pretty low of you locating these folks, we talked about the needle in the haystack mindset. You still went out there and did everything you possibly could, to the point where you're like, this isn't working. Let's try something different. I commend you for that, because it's very easy to be like, whatever. We didn't find him. We tried. We flew for an hour and a half and didn't find him. But you guys didn't do that. Talk about that mindset and how you guys maintain that positive outlook and that drive to locate those folks.
It's about trying new things. Like you talked about the standard search pattern, this, side to side. I'm like, when it comes to like new air crews or just air crews in general, don't be afraid to do zigzags.
Yes.
Change it up, because that change up is how you find people. It's just like, hey, that little heat signature, because we flew directly over a wooded area. Instead of doing the orbits around the wooded area, we flew directly over it. It's just changing the perspective, changing the game plan. And that's kind of the mindset that I had, was just do odd things. If this isn't working, let's try it this way. Let's go to plan B. And then that's what, John did. He was just like, all right, this is what I'm working with. All right, let's start scanning. And sure enough, there they were.
I think you can't be afraid to change it up. Yeah. Right. We are so ingrained and wired to do things a certain way, right? Oh, we got to do a grid search on this one. We got to do, because we can't miss, we can't miss this coordinate or anything like that. But like Chase said, sometimes during a grid search, especially when you're over like a wooded area, you're not going to see what you could see when you're overhead, right? Mm-hmm. Or a higher altitude or lower altitude. So, Chase said it. Don't be afraid to change that. And going back to your mentality question, obviously we're very passionate at what we do. We love this. We come to work every day because we love this, right? I mean, that particular night when they called us from home, we didn't have to respond. We don't get paid on call.
Yeah.
We're not obligated to respond to a call out from home. If our shift is done after our 10-hour shift and we're at home and the phone rings and says, hey, we have a missing child, we have a missing elderly dementia patient, we have a fleeing suspect, we as aircrew members can very easily say, sorry, we're not available.
Right.
There have been very, very little times, probably less than a handful, where we have both said, hey, we're sorry, we're not available, because either we're out of town, or I remember one time I got called and I was, as much as I wanted to come out, I had like 102 fever, and I was like, yeah, that's not smart for me. I was literally shaking in bed, and he's like,
you thought about it.
But I did. I was like, I really wish I could right now, but I don't think I would be very effective, right? But what I'm getting at is we love this job. All of our crew members, and there's only 4 of us, we take this seriously. We're passionate about it. We love this job to the point where even though we don't get paid on call to respond after hours, it would be very rare for one of us to say, hey, we're not coming out, no matter what time. 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning. I've come out at 7 in the morning. I've come out at 2 in the morning. I've come out at 4 in the morning. So, we take this stuff seriously because we take it to heart, because we're passionate about it, right? And when we have successful outcomes like these, it only makes that even better, even more. It makes us more passionate to do this, right? Yeah.
It's not because we have to, it's because we want to. Yeah. That's the mentality.
That was an excellent question, that mindset. And plus, you're both cops. I mean, you're both deputies. So the mindset in patrol, do you ever give up? I mean, if you're in a fight, do you give up? Or if you're searching for somebody, there's a point where you're going to call it, but while you're searching, you don't give up and say, "Oh, we don't need to search this or that." So that mindset too carries over to sitting in a cockpit, right? Sure. And I'm going to keep this going. Yeah, I know this is a needle in a haystack, but the needle's out there. It's out there. I got to find it. And I'm going to be the one to find it. Having that positive mindset is so important in searching. I've talked about that in the class over the years too. You're going into it, anticipate, I'm going to find these people. Because it's easy to say,
there's no perimeter, they're gone
out here.
Yep.
Yeah, this suspect's not in this containment. These victims, I'm sorry, but the chances of them being alive and on the surface are almost zero. But I said almost, so I'm going to work with that almost and that 1%. Yeah, and I'm going to keep trying, just like you guys did. You didn't give up. It would have been easy to fly back and say, hey, we did what we could. If they were out there, they would have popped up on this infrared. I mean, but you changed something up. Nick Minks would be very proud at Tactical Flying of saying, you're up here doing orbits. Now come here, go wider, go higher, look straight down in the woods. Mixing it up is so important because that camera, as great as they are, they still are, you can't see everything, and changing something worked. It worked for you guys almost immediately, huh?
It sure did.
Isn't that something? Yeah, there's another great takeaway, for the new TFOs, don't give up, but, change something. And then, changed it, orbits, boom, after over an hour.
Yeah.
What's that called at police work? A clue that works, changing it up, it works.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Hangar Z podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors. Cheers. Thank you to our sponsor, Centum. Airborne operators know that every second counts. LifeSeeker is a powerful phone location tool helping search and rescue teams and law enforcement agencies locate missing persons faster, even in the toughest conditions. With hundreds of successful missions every year and proven reliability, LifeSeeker is trusted by public safety agencies worldwide. Want to improve your operations? Learn more at Centum.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Quantum Helicopters. For over 2 decades, Phoenix PD, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, Mesa PD, and the Pinell County Sheriff's Office in Arizona have trusted Quantum Helicopters for primary flight training. We've helped boost their efficiency, cut costs, delivered unmatched quality, and keep them focused on public safety. Don't just take our word for it. Reach out and see how we can deliver the same results for your agency. Visit quantumhelicopters.com to learn more.
Thank you to our sponsors, MD Helicopters. MD Helicopters is a leading light helicopter manufacturer for civil and military operators worldwide. We build safe, agile, hard-working light helicopters that consistently deliver reliable performance. As a result, our operators enjoy superior confidence, backed by durability that enables more uptime.